Welcome to r/Bestof Redditor Updates, where a cheating husband gives his pregnant wife an STD. Our next Reddit post comes from r/marriage. I'm currently 8 weeks into my pregnancy. I'd gone for a routine pap smear and STD screening. A few days later, I tested positive for gonorrhea. I've never cheated on my husband and never expected that he cheated on me. When I confronted him with the test results, he seemed genuinely shocked and insisted there had to be a mix-up with the results. He swore up and down that he had been faithful and that there was no way that could be true. I insisted that he get tested. He agreed to do it, and as the days passed, he admitted that he met a woman online and had intercourse with her. He claimed that it was a mistake and he couldn't answer why he did it. He said the woman meant nothing to him and it was a one-time thing. I'm disgusted and feel betrayed knowing that he put me at such risk. Our pregnancy was planned, so we were actively trying before I got pregnant, and he has no regard for that. The thought of continuing the pregnancy while dealing with this betrayal is overwhelming. I'm considering having an abortion because the idea of bringing a child in the mix is crazy to me. I don't think I can ever forgive him. I feel awful for thinking of having an abortion, and I just can't see myself continuing this marriage and having a baby with him. Also, quick relevant detail, I'm like 90% sure that some STDs affect the health of the baby. Let me double check. Some STDs like syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, hepatitis B, and herpes can pass from the mother to the baby. Okay, yeah, that's awful. Oh man, that makes me feel bad. Then, 2 days later, OP posted an update. I finally decided to find out the truth about his affair. I figured out my husband's email password and discovered that he's been on dating sites for months. I also found a woman's name and email address from hotel bookings that he forwarded to her. I Googled her information, found out where she worked, and I called her. When she picked up, I got scared and hung up, but she called back and we had a long conversation. She said that she didn't know that he was married and kept apologizing. She told me that if my husband and I have been intimate in the past few weeks, I should get tested because he gave her an STD. I was shocked because I thought that she had given it to him. She said that he gaslit her, making it seem like she got it from someone else. I told her that he did the same to me. I didn't mention that I'm pregnant. She said that she cut him off and she's considering suing him over it. They met on Tinder and they've been seeing each other for 6 months. Although I initially thought that she should have known that he was married, but I believed her because my husband isn't on social media. He does have an Instagram account, but he doesn't post pictures. She confirmed that they had intercourse multiple times, contradicting his claim that it was a one-time thing. She said they spent time in hotels until she felt comfortable inviting him to her apartment. We both came to the conclusion that she was just one of the women that he was involved with because he gave both of us an STD. Hearing all this made me sick knowing there are other women. I feel stupid for not realizing what was going on and probably wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for the STD results. My husband doesn't know what I've discovered or that I've spoken to her. This is incredibly tough. I'm heartbroken and conflicted about whether I should schedule an abortion, but finding this out is pushing me towards that decision. Then, 1 week later, OP posted an update. I am almost 10 weeks pregnant. I've scheduled an abortion, and I'm feeling so guilty about it. My mind keeps changing. Should I have the baby? I'm terrified that I'll regret it and feel terrible for terminating an innocent life. I'm also anxious about the possibility of never being able to get pregnant again. But then I think maybe I'm doing the right thing. The thought of dealing with this man for the next 18 years is overwhelming. We'd still have to be in each other's lives because we'd share a child. I'm just all over the place, and I feel sick having to make this decision. We haven't spoken in weeks. He doesn't know that I'm planning an abortion. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing by not letting him know about it. I've filed for divorce, and it feels like I'm dealing with 2 major losses at once. I'm so stressed and unsure how I'll survive this. Then, 1 week later, OP posted an update. I had an abortion yesterday, and I'm not sure how to feel. It was a difficult decision, but I believe that it was the right one. There was no way that I could keep the baby under these circumstances. Now, I just feel numb. I haven't told him, and we haven't spoken since I left him after discovering he gave me an STD. I know that when he finds out, he'll likely try to paint me as a bad person. I'm not sure if he deserves to know the truth, or should I just say that I had a miscarriage? The top comment of this post and the replies beneath it are people arguing that OP should just say that it was a miscarriage caused by the gonorrhea that he gave her. Our next Reddit post comes from r/am I the butthole. I'm a 23-year-old woman, and am I the butthole for telling my 24-year-old boyfriend that it's his fault if he misses our flight and that I'll continue without him? My boyfriend and I planned a trip for the end of the summer months ago. Last night, we were still trying to decide how we'd get to the airport when my mom told me that she could take us before work. I told my boyfriend, who lives 30 minutes from my house, to be at my house no later than 6 a.m. so my mother could drive us to the airport at 6:15. He promised he'd be there at 5:45. This morning, he was nowhere to be seen or heard from until 6:20. He told me that his phone fell and he didn't hear it. By then, my mom had to leave and take just me or she'd be late to work. I told him he should just drive to the airport or get an Uber. His mom decides that she'll drive him 1 hour to the airport since he was too late for my mom to take us. He gets to the airport a little after me and I check in our bags. We get to the bag drop and he realizes that he doesn't have his ID. His wallet is at his house, which is about an hour from the airport. I tell him that I'm going to go through TSA and go to the gate. His mom drives back to get his wallet, which will obviously take a while. I tell him that I'm getting on the flight regardless, and that if he misses it, then it's a result of his own mishaps. He then begins to ask me what to do if he misses it. I tell him he's an adult, and he should figure out a way to make it to our destination by contacting customer service. I planned everything for the trip, down to the flights and travel arrangements. I feel like, at this point, I've done all I can to ensure a successful and smooth trip. And I don't feel as if it's my responsibility to do damage control for him if he misses the flights. There's no refund for the Airbnb that we split the price for if we don't go. So, am I the butthole for continuing without him? Down in the comments, people are asking OP if he's typically this late, and OP says, he's often late, which is why I told him an earlier time specifically to avoid that. I called him endlessly, and he didn't wake up until way after the time we agreed upon. His mom had to go to him and wake him up. I told her I was going to leave without him, and she said, he was up late. So I'd already told him that I was exhausted from planning literally everything, and I wanted him to take some charge, and then this happens. Well, in the comments, OP explains that her boyfriend missed the flight, but he managed to show up at the destination 1 day later. Then, 4 days later, OP posted an update. I think the trip was eye-opening for me, and I'm grateful for it. I've had a track record of misjudging and misinterpreting behaviors, and I promised myself that that wouldn't happen again, so I set my boundaries early. During the trip, there were multiple instances that solidified the feeling that were already looming. Outbursts of anger that were followed by childlike behavior and excuses. When confronted, there were only excuses and a lack of accountability, all followed by, "But I'm trying so hard. What am I doing wrong?" Despite me clearly and directly explaining the issue. For example, he lost his debit card, and despite my efforts in tracing his steps, calling businesses we visited and everything, he stormed off ahead of me in a rage, leaving me behind to walk alone on the street. When I explained why that bothered me and why that was unacceptable, here came more excuses and rambling about how he didn't mean for it to happen, but still, it did. While walking to different restaurants, he cussed at men who even looked at me. He stared them down and almost caused a scene. He misplaced his wallet again before dinner and acted in the same rageful manner, cussing, slamming things, throwing items around instead of calmly looking for his wallet. I sat there in disbelief, as this behavior had not been something that I'd seen before. I told him that this was unattractive and demonstrated a lack of control and emotional maturity. I got more excuses. So the night before departure, I'm in tears. It started at the beach. We had decided to take a night swim. All was well until he lost his ring in the ocean. This is the world's most clumsy man. Luckily, I was right next to him, so I was able to quickly use my hands and grab it. He got out to put the ring in the sand. Smart, right? Once we were done, he got upset that I sent his mom a video of him dancing. I walked away because I didn't want to hear it. He then called me back to tell me that he lost his ring in the sand. We look for the ring, and by we, I mean me literally on my hands and knees and him walking around with a flashlight. I finally find it. We begin to walk back to the room. I say, "Can I say something serious? I'm beginning to feel like your mother sometimes, keeping track of your things and helping you do damage control." He responds with a lot, how I didn't have to help him, how I don't acknowledge everything he's been doing, like calling Ubers and paying for things, how I'm not like his mom, and how he didn't ask me to do anything. In anger, I tell him F you and walk away. Yeah, I know this is unkind, and I did apologize for my behavior later. I walk to the room alone. He begs to talk to me when he gets there, but I don't want to. I shower and I tell him, this trip has really made me reconsider whether I want to be in this relationship. He goes berserk, begging me please talk to him, saying that I don't acknowledge all the good he's doing, on and on. I tell him that I don't wish to have a conversation, that I don't wish to be touched and I want to be left alone. Here, I also apologize for my rude words, without making any excuses. He tells me that I'm always rude. He tried to hug me, and I told him to get off of me. He continued to touch me as I tried to lay down in the bed, trying to hug me and hold my hand. Here, I break down in tears. I run to the bathroom and begin to sob. I come out as he's continually crying and begging me to talk to him. He begins to raise his voice and make a scene. I grab the pull-out bed from the closet to sleep on. He blocks me and pushes the bed, telling me that I don't need it. I get increasingly aggravated because I'm being blocked, and I tell him to move out of my way and leave me alone. He doesn't and protests by sitting on the pull-out bed. I rip the comforter off the actual bed and make a bed on the floor. He takes the blankets and pillows from under me, saying he won't let me sleep on the floor. He continues to yell in my ear for me to get up and that he loves me and to put everything behind us. All the while, he keeps pulling away the pillow that I reclaimed. Finally, he left me alone on the floor to sleep. I'm leaving for the airport in 3 hours. Down in the comments, people are discussing this, and OP says, I was thinking about changing my flight, honestly. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of a breakup, like how and when that could happen. Then OP posted an update. So I did break up with him via text. I told him not to contact my parents or come to our home. He did both the next day, texting my mom and leaving flowers at my doorstep. He's continually telling me that he'll seek therapy and that I'm the only woman for him whom he still loves. Also, in the comments of that, OP explains that he was fired twice for tardiness from his jobs at Walmart and from a warehouse. Also, apparently his mother told him that he should just move on and find someone who doesn't fight with him all the time. I told her initially that his behavior was abusive, and she agreed that he sounded like his dad, her ex-husband, who was physically, sexually, verbally, and emotionally abusive. I told her that I wouldn't even consider him in the future unless he sought therapy, and that I had concerns about him passing boot camp. She told me that therapy makes your brain sick and that he should find someone who believes in him. Also, relevant detail that I missed, OP had a lot of comments, so this kind of got buried. After the boyfriend missed the first flight, he booked his second flight, and he missed that flight too. So he showed up the next day on the third flight that he booked. All right, hold on. What's the final tally here? Over what sounds like 5-day vacation, he forgot his wallet twice, he lost his debit card, he missed 2 flights, he overslept twice, and he lost his ring twice, once in the ocean and once in the beach. This is like the clumsiest, doofiest moron I've ever read about. How can one guy be this absent-minded? I am literally not exaggerating when I say that my 3-year-old daughter is better at keeping track of where her stuff is than this guy. That was r/Best of Redditor updates. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.